being asked now, we knew about until we walked here on the stage. So we didn't have any time to prepare for this. So the question is, what is the meaning of founder Acharya?
Like for instance, there's so many Gaudiya moths around ISKCON, and they have everybody's an Acharya, but it seems like somehow or another this founder Acharya is something that's been established even before with some preeminence in terms of its importance for the society going into the future, not just when the person's present.
The terminology, founder Acharya, is interesting because it's two words in two opposite languages. One is English and the other one is in Sanskrit. So Srila Prabhupada found or thought that by putting these two words together he would give a clearer picture of his position. As was mentioned, there are many acharyas. Acharya means one who teaches not only by words but by example. And Srila Prabhupada, in establishing this ISKCON society, he basically continued from his spiritual master's mission of spreading Krishna consciousness around the world. We know, and it's a long history, how the Gaudiya moth somewhat didn't come up to the standard that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati expected him after he left the planet, and he prepared them for that. And Srila Prabhupada could see that, and so in establishing his mission, which was unique in the sense that he took it outside of the country of India, where the foundation by which all of these acharyas are coming in the line of. And he presented eternal religious teachings according to the teachings given by the previous acharya, but he established an institution that was in one sense separate, but at the same time a continuation of the mission given by his spiritual master, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj. And Prabhupada was teaching Westerners, many, who had no real foundational understanding of Vedic culture and the process of pure devotional service. So he applied certain principles that would be more practical in the geographical presentation based on the culture of Western society. And in those, they were quite unique in establishing his mission. And therefore, as the founder Acharya, he set a certain standard for operation, both in the spiritual sense and in a managerial sense also. And it is the duty of those who are actual followers of Srila Prabhupada, who come in the line of Srila Prabhupada, to understand his position that is unique from all other positions of Acharya, because what he established is, of course, Lord Chaitanya's mission, but as it applies and as it is inaugurated in the Western societies. And Prabhupada gave so many standards. He also wanted his name on all of the documentations that were considered to be ISKCON official documents as being founder Acharya. One time when the devotees had established a sign in front of one particular temple, they put Srila Prabhupada's name there, but they didn't connect him as the founder Acharya. Prabhupada was very much concerned, and he
Они
had
поставили его
them
имя, но не
include
подписали, что
that
он ачарья-основатель.
because
Шрила
people will
Прпбхупада
come
очень хотел, чтобы
and
эти слова
also
всегда
come up to a certain
присутствовали,
standard of leadership and
потому
also
что
have their own
люди
disciples. But within the ISKCON
Люди будут
society,
приходить, они будут
Prabhupada
становиться
had a
гуру.
certain protocol, both in the devotional and manageable, that he
Шрила
wanted
Прпбхупады
to follow,
особое
which he
положение
felt
в
was
ИСККОН.
impeccable or important for us to practice Krishna consciousness successfully, the way
Он
he
хотел,
taught
чтобы
it.
все мы
And of
практиковали
course,
сознание Кришны успешно,
all of
так
that is
как
given
он
by his
учил.
words in his books, his lectures, his
Так как учил он нас в
conversations, and
своих
even we
книгах,
might
в
even
своих
include in many
лекциях, в
cases
своих
his
диалогах,
letters to devotees and others.
в своих письмах преданным.
So his position is unique,
Его положение
and
уникально,
it can't be replaced by anyone else,
и никем
even though
невозможно
he's
заменить его.
personally not present. There will
Хотя
never
он
be another
физически
founder
сейчас он
Acharya
не
or someone
присутствует,
in
но
that same
другого
position.
ачарья-основателя не будет, и
Those
никто
who
больше
come
не
in the
займет
line
это
of
место.
Srila Prabhupada
Те,
have
кто
to
идут по линии
understand
Шрилы Прпбхупады, должны
carefully
понимать
what he
очень
gave and
хорошо
how to
Шрилу
apply
Прпбхупаду,
it.
чему конкретно он
And
нас
therefore
учил, и как
they're
применять
actually
это.
followers of the founder Acharya, and they can become representatives
Те, кто
of the
непосредственно
founder
его
Acharya.
непосредственные последователи, они должны стать его
But there is many
представителями.
categories of
Но есть очень
understanding
много
of
категорий
Prabhupada's position.
понимания положения Шрилы Прпбхупады.
And therefore, this is something that will be foundational in the history of understanding
Это
ISKCON. It
основа
was
истории
established,
ИСККОН.
just like we see in
Как, например,
the
мы
Madhurya
видим,
Sampradaya and also in Ramanuja Sampradaya. They remain
Рамануджа
strong
Сампрадай,
in their
другой
disciplic
Сампрадай,
succession
они
because they all
поддерживают
follow very carefully the teachings and the
очень сильную
instructions and
ученическую
guidance
преемственность, потому что
given
они
by their
очень
founder
четко следуют
Acharya.
наставлениям
And
своих,
so that will be
своих
the strength
ачарьев-основателей.
and the what we say the longevity of our society
В этом
as
и
we
есть
keep
сила
Srila
нашего
Prabhupada's
общества. И
instructions, his
пока мы
guidance, both
следуем
practical
наставлениям
and spiritual, as the
Шрилы
means to make
Прпбхупады,
all decisions and all what we say, even when there is need to adopt certain
даже
changes
когда нам
according to time,
нужно
place, and
какие-то изменения
circumstance,
внести в соответствии с
Prabhupada's
временем, местом,
instructions
обстоятельствам,
become the reference by which is the
мы всегда
guiding
к ним
force
обращаемся,
by
они
which we
всегда
make
для нас служат
adaptations according to
направлением,
time, place,
и
and
только основываясь
circumstance.
на них мы можем сделать
There's
какую-то
many things that could
адаптацию
be
в
said in
соответствии с
relationship
местом,
to how
временем,
Prabhupada
обстоятельствам.
executed his position. But I think in general, his position is what we say unique,
Но в целом
and
все
can
равно
never
его
be
положение, оно
replaced.
уникально, и никто
And
не может
everyone
его
else who's
заменить.
coming in the line of Srila Prabhupada must adhere to the guidance, instructions, and direction in all aspects of
И кто бы ни
the
следовал,
ISKCON,
кто бы ни был его
what we say,
последователем, должен был
presentation
четко
within the
следовать его
world to Srila
наставлениям, что
Prabhupada.
представлять
Yes,
Шрилу
Maharaj.
Прпбхупаду в
I was
правильном
going to
образе
add,
всего мира.
I can
Да,
remember
Махарадж, я хочу
when
добавить,
Srila
что
Prabhupada was present
я помню, когда Шрила Прпбхупада
and all
был
these things
еще
that
здесь, в
Prabhupada
этом мире.
was asking us to do for the future, they didn't really seem to mean much to us because of the fact that he was there and
И когда
he
он
was the
говорил о чем-то
ultimate
на
authority. There's
будущее,
no
люди
question
особо как-то
of
не принимали
anyone
это
thinking,
всерьез,
oh,
потому
I'm going to do
что Шрила
something different.
Прабхупада, он
So
присутствовал на
now that
планете,
Prabhupada
и никто даже
has left
подумать
and we
не
have
мог,
his
что могут
body,
быть
we can
какие-то
see
отклонения.
how important
А сейчас
that was,
мы
that he
понимаем,
established, for instance,
насколько
his
же
murti on
важно
the
это
altar,
было,
his
то,
daily guru
что
puja, and so
у
many
нас
things.
есть мурти Шрилы Прабхупады,
And that,
что
of
у нас
course,
есть
we can
гуру-пуджа
see
каждый день.
it wasn't just something for his ego, but he was such a powerful preacher that in such a short amount of time, look what he did.
Он сделал
So
за
he is
короткое время то, что
Shaktavesh
никто не
avatar.
сделал, поэтому
So
он Шактавеш
why
аватар.
not embrace that? Jayapataka Maharaj, Your Holiness, so you were a member of the first GBC.
Джаяпатака Махарадж,
And I think during that time as
вы
GBC,
первый член GBC.
Srila Prabhupada brought up this point of founder Acharya. Maybe you can speak
На
about
этом
that
заседании
and becoming
Шрила
GBC and
Прабхупада
how
впервые
what
внес
they
на
were thinking at
повестку
the
дня
time when
этот
Prabhupada was
титул
emphasizing this
Ачарья,
founder Acharya,
основатель.
even when the first meetings.
Может быть, вы что-то вспомните об этих первых встречах?
His Chandramali Maharaj ki. His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaja ki.
And then some disciple sold some of the land and took the money. When one of his disciples sold the land and took the land to his own.
When one of his
Когда
disciples
один из его учеников
showed the land
показал
and
землю
took the land for ISKCON,
и купил землю для Искон,
He gave the land to himself.
he,
He took Prabhupada's property, sold it, and kept the profit for himself.
he took Prabhupada's
взял
property,
собственность Шрилы Прпбхупады,
sold it,
продал ее
and kept the profit
и всю
for himself.
прибыль оставил себе.
At that time, Prabhupada emphasized
И
that
в
he
тот
was the
момент
founder Acharya
Шрила Прпбхупада впервые
of Islam,
сказал, что он основатель Искон.
people could not do that.
And at that time, Srila Prabhupada emphasized that he was the founder Acharya of ISKCON and that people could not do that.
Поэтому так он основатель, так сделать нельзя.
What? In the Marta what did I know? He mentions that the founder Acharya of any sampradaya
Bhakti Vinod Thakur in his Vani Vaibhava mentions that the founder Acharya of any sampradaya
Любой сампрадая
is the Shiksha Guru for the whole sampradaya.
is the Siksha Guru for the whole
для всей
sampradaya.
сампрадаи.
And he was very emphatic about that.
And he was very emphatic about that.
И он очень ярко это выразил.
I think that Prabhupada established the Islam International Society for Krishna Consciousness.
Prabhupada said
Prabhupada
ISKCON
сказал,
or the International
или
Society for Krishna
Международное
Consciousness
сознание Кришны.
And others had established Gaudiya Math, Gaudiya Chaitanya Math.
Others had established Gaudiya Math, Gaudiya Chaitanya Math,
Гаудия Мат и Гаудия Чайтанья Мат,
Gaudiya Mahaprabhu Math.
Гаудия Махапрабху
Gaudiya
Мат.
Mahaprabhu Math. Some little change.
Они такие маленькие изменения вносили, чтобы свое открывали.
On him, he'd like to unite the Sastra Gaudiya Sampradaya.
Srila Prabhupada, on one hand, he wanted to unite the Saraswata Gaudiya Sampradaya.
Сарасвата Гаудия Сампрадая, а с другой стороны,
He he wanted his devotees
Он
to
хотел,
maintain
чтобы его преданные сохраняли
the policies that he established.
On the other hand, he wanted his disciples
Он хотел, чтобы его
to
ученики
maintain the
сохраняли
policies that he had established.
те ценности, которые он установил.
I was once talking to Yadavara Prabhupada.
I was
Однажды я
once talking
разговаривал
to
с духовным братом Шриле Прпбхупаде.
A god brother of Srila Prabhupada.
I said that we have to follow the orders of the spiritual master.
And I said that
Я
we have to
сказал,
follow
что мы
the
должны
orders of the
следовать
spiritual master.
наставлениям духовного учителя.
That Godbrother became very disgusted.
That god brother became very disgusted
И этот духовный брат Шриле Прпбхупаде, он так неприятно отреагировал.
He didn't want a reason to follow his Prabhupada. Although
because he didn't want to
Потому что
follow.
он не хотел
he
следовать.
didn't want us to follow the spiritual master.
Because he didn't want us to follow spiritual
Потому что он не
master.
хотел, чтобы мы следовали за своим духовным учителем.
He made up. And I remember just that it did not feel unhappy.
So he made a dismissive remark which showed that he was
И он сделал
unhappy.
такое замечание сделал, что из него стало понятно, что ему все это не понравилось.
Acharya, it meant a lot more for Srila Prabhupada.
So founder Acharya,
Основатель
it meant a lot more for
означает
Srila Prabhupada,
гораздо больше для Шрилы Прпбхупады.
For his satirtas. For his satirtas.
for us.
His compatriots. His compatriots. His others.
For his compatriots, god brothers,
Как для своих духовных братьев.
So much for the Islam devotees.
Thank you, Maharaj, for
Now I'm starting to understand that Founder Acharya is a very special position.
now we are starting to understand
Только теперь
that
мы
founder
начинаем
Acharya
понимать, что
is a
Ачарья,
very
основатель,
special position.
это очень особое положение.
You only have one founder.
And that you can have only one founder Acharya.
Ачарья-основатель может быть только
There
один.
are many Acharyas,
We can have many
Ачарьев
Acharyas,
может быть много,
but only one founder.
but only one founder
но
Acharya.
только один Ачарья-основатель.
Jai Srila Prabhupada ki. In my experience in
Что
traveling
касается моего личного опыта
to
путешествий
many different countries,
в
what you see
различные
is
страны, что я
devotees
видел,
are
что преданные
becoming Krishna conscious,
становятся сознающими Кришну.
and there's a central point to it, which is Srila Prabhupada and what he wants. But then there's a little variety of flavors, is there
И
not?
в целом, как бы, они
Like in
все следуют
Russia,
Прабхупады,
China, so many
но
different
есть
places.
такая, как бы,
So, but because we're keeping
разница, в
Prabhupada
зависимости
there,
от местности,
in the
разнообразие
center as
существует,
the founder
а
Acharya,
Шрила
that's
Прабхупада, все
uniting
они
us
хранят
all.
в центре.
So we're
И
going to
это
also
объединяет всех нас.
impromptu invite Maharaj
Давайте
as a second
также,
generation devotee to
вот можно
please come over
спросить
here
Махараджа,
and
как
maybe yes,
как
Bhakta
представить,
Vidya, Gyana Maharaj, you.
вас, Махарадж показывает на кого-то. Бхакти,
Oh, anyone, Maharaj.
а вот того Махараджа.
He wants
Bhak-
one of you got to come up. How about that?
Bhakti Prachar Parivrajaka Maharaj.
Бхакти Прачар Паривраджак Махарадж.
While we're waiting, again, at this point, which I was trying to bring up a bit,
И еще раз,
is when Prabhupada was
что я
present,
пытаюсь
everything seemed to
сказать,
just go so
когда
easily because he's
Шрила
there.
Прабхупада присутствовал,
And
все
then as
казалось
we
таким
see, between
простым,
the time
потому что он
Prabhupada
присутствовал лично.
Has left and up to
А
now,
затем Шрила
how
Прабхупада
the movement has
ушел,
gone on, but it's all
И
seemed to
до
be
этого
adjusted
момента-
according to this same principle, founder Acharya. Could you talk about that, Maharaj, in your
произошло
experience?
много
About
изменений.
how
Махарадж, что, как
the
вы считаете,
transition, in a
какой
sense,
ваш
Prabhupada's gone, and what do? We don't know what to do. We're trying so
Когда
many
Шрила
ways.
Прабхупада ушел,
But by
мы не
keeping
знали, что
Prabhupada
делать,
there,
мы пытались, что мы
we've
только не пытались
become
сделать, но мы всегда
even more
старались
strong.
держать Шрилу
Acharya
Прабхупаду
Maharaj.
в центре.
I think in order to fulfill that need, there needs to be regular discussions amongst the devotees, not only, you might say, those who are in leadership position, but all devotees,
Все преданные
on Srila
обсуждают
Prabhupada's statements.
утверждения
There
Шрилы
are many
Прабхупады.
statements that
Есть очень
Srila
много
Prabhupada
утверждений Шрилы
made that
Прабхупады.
may seem to be a little ambiguous,
И иногда они кажутся несколько
or they're
противоречивыми.
actually relevant to
Или
time, place, and
они,
circumstance and do not apply
относятся
in
к
all
определенному
cases.
времени, месту, обстоятельствам.
So to be able to understand
Не могут
in one's particular situation, there
Поэтому,
needs to be
чтобы
regular
понять их, нужно понять
discussions on Srila Prabhupada's
определенную
statements
ситуацию,
in
чтобы
regard to a
Прабхупада сделал то
particular
или иное
situation that
утверждение.
is at hand. Reading, discussing, as Prabhupada said, Bodhyantas Parasparam Katyantas Chimam Nityam. This Krishna has said this, but Prabhupada repeats it quite often.
Кришна сказал, и Прабхупада
Tushyanti
часто
cha,
повторяет,
romanti cha. It awakens
cha, romanti cha.
transcendental knowledge and gives transcendental
это
happiness.
пробуждает наше
So just reading the books is
трансцендентное знание и
important,
наше
but
счастье.
discussing and understanding
С помощью
has to be a
чтения и
regular part, I
обсуждения
think, of
книг,
each devotee's life
как
in order to
повседневной
clarify and to go
практике
deeper
жизни каждого
into the
преданного
knowledge
и
that is given
стараться
to us,
глубже и
particularly when
глубже
it comes to
погружаться
solving
в знания.
situations, problems.
Это разрешает
think
все
that's
сложные
very
ситуации,
important
все
that
проблемы.
We adopt that mood of discussion within our society, whether
Очень
it's
хорошо,
a
что мы
small
приняли
group
это
or more
настроение
of a
обсуждения в нашем
symposium
обществе.
type of
Обсуждение в маленьких
presentation.
группах, в больших
In
симпозиумах,
any case,
презентации различные.
If
Во
we
всех
don't talk
случаях,
about Srila
если мы не
Prabhupada's
будем
books,
говорить о книгах
what he
Шрилы
meant,
Прабхупады, о том, что
try to understand,
он
read,
имел в виду, не
try to understand what he's
пытаться
saying,
понять, что он написал,
then we will remain somewhat
тогда
in ignorance in many
мы будем
situations in our
мы
practical
будем
application of this
в
knowledge.
состоянии невежества и не
So it's
сможем
important that we
применять
discuss
знания
it regularly,
в разных ситуациях, потому что
not
поэтому
only in
очень
formal
важно
settings,
регулярно
but informally.
обсуждать книги Шрилы Прабхупады, как на
You
формальных
have any
встречах, так
examples,
и на
Maharaj, you can think
неформальных.
of? Hate to put you on the spot.
Может быть, какие-то
In terms
есть
of-
примеры
In terms of
из жизни
how this
по
bringing
поводу
Prabhupada
чего?
as the founder
По
Acharya
поводу
kind of
того, как
solidify this con, or maybe help correct a problem that may have occurred.
понимание с позиции Шрилы
Because you've
Прабхупады,
traveled
как
throughout Europe and
основателя,
America,
помогало
you're
решить
in
какие-то
Vrindavan, so many
проблемы.
places.
Some
Или о том, как вы
examples,
путешествовали в Америке или в
Well,
Нью-Йорке. Да, были примеры.
There was that one situation where
Среди всех
it
ситуаций
arose
была
in
такая,
1970,
которая возникла в
where four of
1970
the
году, когда
sannyasis at that time
тогда
who were
были
preaching in
саньяси,
ISKCON
они проповедовали в ИСККОН,
started to make
Они
some
начали
propaganda that was somewhat contrary to actual
проповедовать нечто
Siddhanta, especially
противоположное
in
Сиданте.
connection with Guru Tattva.
А особенно что касается Гуру Татвы.
where they were saying that Srila Prabhupada is actually Vishnu,
Они стали говорить, что
but
Прабхупада
he's
это
not
Вишну.
revealing it.
Он просто
but
не
we know he
показывает
is.
нам это, но мы-то знаем, кто он такой.
And so this group of 4
И эта группа
sannyasis
4
started to hold a
саньяси
little discussions
начали
amongst
обсуждать
the
это.
rest of the devotees. And then, of course,
Начали это обсуждать
others
среди
didn't go
преданных.
agree with it, and it was
И
quite there was a
другие
division
были
coming
не
into the
согласны. Произошло
the
разделение
society
в
based on this
обществе,
idea.
основанное на вот этой
The word
идее.
that got back to Srila Prabhupada,
И
Prabhupada was in Japan at the time.
уже Шриле Прпбхупаде, что
And at that
Прабхупаде
time
дошли
we were
эти знания,
only
он был тогда в
chanting
Японии.
Srila Prabhupada's
В то время
first part of his pranam
тогда
mantra,
повторяли только
Namam
первую
Vishnu
часть
Padaya Krishna
пранам-мантры.
Prasthaya Bhutale Srimakti Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. When Prabhupada heard that, of course he took action to,
И когда Прабхупада
you know,
услышал
stop this
эти
propaganda,
проблемы,
but at the
конечно
same
же, он
time he
приказал остановить.
wanted to enunciate
эту
it clearly, and he added the second part of his
Но
pranam.
он
Namaste Saraswati
понимания
Deve
добавил
Gauravani
вторую
Pucharini
часть
Nirvisesa Sunyavari Pastyatya Desatarini. He gave his role as the founder Acharya and what is his mission and
Он
his
там объяснил свою роль
connection to
как
the previous
ачарья-основателя,
Acharya
свою
also
миссию и его связь с
by
предыдущими
establishing
ачарьями.
him
Он
by this
остановил
particular part of his mantra.
все
And
это
that became,
во второй части
that
мантры.
became an understanding of Srila Prabhupada's mission and his position.
И это дало нам
And of
понимание миссии
course,
Шрилы Прабхупады
the
и его
situation went
положения.
on where these
Но
4
ситуация, конечно же,
sannyasis were asked to
продолжалась.
leave the
Эти
association
саньяси
of the society and go out and preach on their own, and somehow,
попросили отделиться и проповедовать
if they could prove
самостоятельно.
themselves
И если они смогут
by
доказать,
traveling and preaching
что
and living on their own,
что
then
они
after
смогут
some time they would
восстановить
be
свое
considered to
положение
be reunited within the
с помощью
society,
своей
and they did
проповеди,
that.
тогда
Were
их примут
successful in
обратно
that
в
way.
общество. И они сделали
So
это,
Prabhupada said
они успешно
there's two
проповедовали и
things
вернулись.
To underestimate the position of the
Так,
guru
есть две
is,
ошибки. Это
or we
недооценивать
might say,
положение гуру.
deviation or offense. But he said worse than that is to
Но хуже
overestimate
это переоценка роли
the
гуру.
position of the spiritual master.
Переоценка.
To think that the spiritual master is other than
Говорить,
or
что
the
духовный
representative
учитель
of the
это
disciplic
кто-то
succession
иной,
according to the present
чем просто
situation.
представитель ученической
And that's
преданности.
what they were doing. They were overestimating.
И
But
это то, что делали
it was a
четверо саньяси,
deviation.
они переоценивали роль, но это было
And Prabhupada
отклонение.
considered it a very, very dangerous deviation which could have
Это
divided the whole
отклонение
society.
очень-очень опасным,
But he was present
потому что
to
оно
stop
могло
it.
разделить все общество.
And
Но в то
because of
время он
that,
присутствовал
it got
лично.
cleared up
И
properly.
поэтому очень быстро
Thank you,
ситуация
Maharaj.
нормализовалась.
Actually,
Спасибо, Махарадж.
I'll mention one name, but it's significant. It's Brahmananda Swami at the
Я
time.
упомяну одно
Was part of
имя,
that
очень
group.
важное в то время было
I was
Нанда
with him
Свами.
in
Он
West
был
Africa, and
частью
I
этой группы, я
spoke to him
был
about
с
that,
ним
and he
в
felt like
Африке.
I was just misunderstood. I wasn't
И он говорил,
trying
да
to
просто вы меня не
do
поняли.
anything that's going to upset Prabhupada, and he wanted
Ничего
so
мы
much
не
to get back into
хотели.
Prabhupada's
Я не
grace.
хотел
And
никак
then Prabhupada
расстроить
sent him the
Прабхупаду, и
telegram.
он очень хотел
Go to
вернуться
Pakistan
обратно
immediately.
к Шриле Прабхупаде. Он поехал в
And
Пакистан,
of course, he had no money,
у него не было денег.
so pretty much he walked and
И
hitchhiked
в
to
основном,
Pakistan as in
за
his
то, чтобы
sannyas
добраться до
dress.
Пакистана, ему пришлось
And in
идти
this way,
пешком
Prabhupada
или просто
brought them all
голосовать,
back
ловить
in
машины в одежде
society.
саньяси.
It was,
Но он
he
вернулся в
was
общество.
tested first.
That was a test. I don't know
Да,
why I could
это было, конечно, испытание для него.
But
он его
devotees were
прошел.
dedicated like that that
Но
time.
это
We
преданный, он
wanted
был очень
Prabhupada's
сильно был
grace so
предан
much
Прабхупаде.
that you would walk to Pakistan
И он так был
and
благодарен
sit down and
Прабхупаде,
chant
что он
Hare
пешком
Krishna
пошел в
in
Пакистан, сидел
Pakistan in the middle
в
of the civil war.
Пакистане и повторял там Харе Кришна посреди гражданской войны,
We have His
которая там
Holiness
шла.
Bhakti Prachar Parvikachar
Итак, у
Maharaj
нас-
Ki.
У нас вот Махарадж.
Swami, sorry, I still remember him as Brahmachari. I can't get that out
Но
of
мы
my
все привыкли, что он
He's always been
Брахмачарья,
kind to me
но
and let
он
me
с вами
treat
теперь.
him in such an intimate way. But we wanted to have a second generation devotee up here also
Нам хотелось
to kind
здесь
of
послушать
speak on this
второе
same
поколение.
point. And so Maharaj, you know, you are the current generation and future generations
Да,
are,
вы
are
сейчас
coming.
представитель текущего
And maybe you could
поколения, а
speak about
также
how this founder
следующего.
Acharya
И, может быть,
principle applies
вы можете
to the
что-то
current and the
рассказать о
future
том, как
and
сейчас
the effects
применяется
of it,
принцип
especially maybe you've seen in your
Ачарьи-основателя.
own life.
Yeah, the position of founder
Да,
Acharya is very, very important
Ачарьи-основателя очень важно,
because Srila Prabhupada
потому что Шрила
was very
Прпбхупаде
emphatic on the point that
очень
in
ясно,
Kali Yuga
четко
it's very easy
говорил,
to be
что в
disunited.
Кали-югу люди
And
постоянно склонны
that's
к
why he
раздорам
wanted
и
his followers,
разделению.
GBC members
Поэтому
and
он хотел,
leaders
чтобы все его
to come to
последователи
Mayapur
GBC
and talk about
и
unity in
чтобы они приезжали
diversity.
в Майпур, и чтобы они разговаривали
So diversity
о единстве
is
в различиях.
natural,
И
but
разнообразие, оно
unless there is
естественно.
unity, then it will be
Но
divided.
так как
So
есть-
Srila
но должно быть
Prabhupada, as the
обязательно
founder
единство.
Acharya, can
Прабхупада,
play
как
that role.
Ачарья-основатель,
Nobody else can play that role.
Он смог сыграть эту
So
роль,
Srila
никто
Prabhupada, as
другой
the
не
founder
мог.
Acharya, can unite
Прабхупада,
the
как
International
Ачарья-основатель,
Society for Krishna Consciousness. So his
объединил
position is very, very unique.
сознание Кришны. Его положение уникально.
And Prabhupada was also very, very
И Прабхупада также был очень
cautious
внимательный,
about
осторожен
philosophical deviations.
касательно философских отклонений.
Prabhupada did not give so much importance on fall down in different way,
Прабхупада не очень много говорил о
although he
разного
expected
типа
high
падений,
standard, but he was very, very cautious
что
about
все будут
philosophical
следовать
deviations.
стандартам,
And that's
но
why
больше всего
his
уделял
books
внимание философским
are
правильным
the
пониманиям.
law books, he said, for the next 10,000
И
years.
также его
Not
книги
the spiritual
являются
books, he said the law
книгами
books.
законов, не просто духовными книгами,
So,
книгами закона,
his
свод
books
законов на ближайшие 10 тысяч лет.
Are the basis.
Его
His
книги это
teachings are the
основа.
foundational principle of our movement.
Его учение это
And
основа нашего
nobody can play that
движения.
role.
И никто, ни другой не может играть.
So Srila
эту роль.
Prabhupada's books
Книги Шрилы
are very, very
Прпбхупады
important.
нам- для нас
And as a
очень
founder
важны.
Acharya,
Ачарья-основатель,
his shiksha
он шикша,
through his books
дает нам
is the
шикшу,
final
наставление
teachings of our movement.
через свои книги.
So Prabhupada said, I live forever in my
Прабхупада
books.
сказал, что он будет жить в своих
Although
книгах, хотя
he is not present physically,
физически, может,
but
не будет
Prabhupada said one is
присутствовать.
Vani,
Но
other one is
Прабхупада
Bopu.
сказал, что есть
So
Вани и
Bopu
Вапу.
can stay or disappear.
Вапу может как
but
быть,
Vani
так и
is
не
eternal.
присутствовать. А Ваня
So Prabhupada's Bani is
Vani
there
Prabhupada
eternally.
вечно
And we can
присутствует.
connect with Prabhupada,
И мы можем связать
through
с
his
Прабхупадой,
instructions.
связываться с Прабхупадой
and
через
these
его
instructions are
наставления.
there in his
Его
books.
наставления мы можем найти в его книгах.
And diversity will be there
А
because there will be many
разнообразие будет
gurus.
всегда
Prabhupada
присутствовать,
wanted
потому что у нас
many
много
gurus
гуру.
in the future,
Прабхупада очень хотел, чтобы
but
было много гуру в будущем.
Prabhupada will remain
Но
the guru, the preeminent Shiksha Guru, the founder
Прабхупада,
Acharya
он
of our
основной
movement.
гуру, он
And that will
ачарья-основатель,
keep us
шикша-гуру для всех.
United, and as long as Prabhupada will be accepted as a founder Acharya,
И пока мы принимаем
ISKCON will be there.
Прабхупаду как
And if we
ачарья-основателя,
don't
ISKCON
accept
будет
Prabhupada as the founder
существовать. А
Acharya,
если мы перестанем его
that is not
принимать
ISKCON.
ачарья-основателем, то ISKCON
so if you want
перестанет
ISKCON to be there, then
Если вы
Prabhupada has to
хотите,
be there.
чтобы
That's why Prabhupada said,
существовал, надо, чтобы
ISKCON
Прабхупада
is my
всегда был в
body,
центре. Потому что Шрила
and
Прабхупада сказал,
Prabhupada
ISKCON
is
это
the
мое
soul of
тело.
that body.
А Шрила Прабхупада
And
это
if
душа
soul is
этого
not
тела.
there,
Если душа
body
ушла
is
из тела,
dead.
то тело, значит что?
So
Тело мертво.
Prabhupada's presence
Присутствие Шрилы
is
Прабхупады
most important aspect in our
это
movement,
самый важный аспект нашего
and that has to be
движения.
understood. And
Мы
more
должны это понимать.
days will go, more we will realize the
И
significant
со
position of
временем
Srila
мы еще
Prabhupada.
больше только будем понимать
That is the
его
reality.
значимость, его роли.
Although we did not have the opportunity to meet Srila
И
Prabhupada
хотя у
directly
нашего поколения была возможность
in the form of
встретиться со Шрилой
Bopu,
Прабхупаде,
but
Прабхупадой
we
в
have
форме
seen
Вапу,
his followers, those who have
но мы
seen him
видим
in
его
Bopu,
последователей,
and also you can see
которые
Prabhupada in
видели
his
его
books.
Вапу, и также мы
So his
видим
position
Прабхупаду в
as a
его
founder
книгах.
Acharya is very,
Поэтому
very important to
положение
unite
ачарья-основателя очень
the
важно.
future generations and also the present
Будущее
generations.
поколение и настоящее
And also,
поколение.
founder
Также
Acharya means we can see the previous Acharya through the eyes of the founder Acharya.
Мы понимаем
So you can
предыдущих
understand the mood and
ачарьев
mission
через
of the
глазами,
previous Acharyas
э,
through Prabhupada.
ачарья-основатель настоящего
Then we can
времени.
become Prabhupada Nuga Vaishnavas.
Мы должны стать
So there can be many
Прабхупада
Acharyas,
Нугами.
but for
Ачарьев
his
может быть
devotees and
много,
followers,
но для
Prabhupada
преданных
plays
ISKCON
the most important and
Прабхупада
significant role,
играет самую важную
both for
роль
the gurus in ISKCON and also for the previous acharyas, because he is the central focal point to connect with the previous acharyas and also to unite the existing acharyas or gurus of our ISKCON movement. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Maharaj. I was just thinking how of an example of this principle of Prabhupada as founder Acharya and what it means to the devotees. A couple of weeks ago, we put into the Ganga Srila Prabhupada disciple. His name is Charudeshana. You may not know of him, but devotees from the 70s know of him because Prabhupada was establishing his books, publishing them, and of course having them distributed. And it wasn't an easy task in the early days. If you could sell 20 books after 8 hours, that was considered a grand success. Jamasri Prabhu, who's organizing all of this, he's a book distributor back in the days, he knows the severity of that service. But this Charadeshana Prabhu, somehow or another, in one day he sold 200 books, which was considered, impossible. Now people can do 200 at one time, right? 200 sets, as we see John
за один
talking
заход
about.
могут распространить.
And Prabhupada wrote a letter,
И Прабхупада написал письмо.
Acknowledging his achievement, and it kind of lit the movement on fire. But
Это охватило просто огнем
when the devotees, Sovas Prabhu, BBT in charge in North America, and Vaisheshika, of course, the book distribution minister, we went on Ganga and they had some memorial and put the ashes in. And Sovas talked about how, what drove them to do that. He said they've got such a high taste out of just trying to please Prabhupada. That is at 4:30 after Mangal Arati, Charadesha would come to him and says, come on, let's go. Let's go. And they get in the van and go to the airport. And they would get so much involved in selling books that he said we were just zoned out. We were in the spiritual world. We're doing this for Prabhupada. And they would go on and on and on until 4:30 the next morning. So this is how he did his 200 books in one day. His Grace Charadeshana Prabhu Ki. So this is the effect if you grab on to trying to please Srila Prabhupada. Yes, we have our gurus, we have our Shiksha gurus, Diksha gurus, but all of us are working together to do what? Didn't hear anything? Please Srila Prabhupada. Yes. Say Haribol. And anyway, with this, I wanted to lead up to Maharaj. Of course, he is the embodiment of determination, Jayapataka Swami. To me, it's such an inspiration, just the fact that even to come in Mayapur in the early days when there's nothing, you have no idea what that's like. I don't know. I came in 77. I didn't come back again until 2005. It's too austere for me. But they're living in that hut, trying to fulfill Prabhupada's mission. So, Maharaj, maybe you can speak about the struggles that even Prabhupada went through. He had failed businesses, practically speaking, his family failed. And yet, near the end, he still made one more attempt to start ISKCON, and then within that 12-year span, 108 temples. And Maharaj was right there in the beginning, up to Prabhupada leaving, and also continuing now.
И Джаяпатака Махарадж, он был с ним Прабхупады с самого начала и продолжает сейчас до сих пор.
I was thinking
Я думал,
how
как
Sri Sampradaya,
Шри
I was
Сампрадая,
thinking how this Sri Sampradaya,
they have Divya Dasas.
they have Divya Deshas.
у них есть Дивья-деши.
If you can visit 108 Vidya Dasas, go back to Radha.
They say
Они говорят,
that if you can visit
если вы
the 108 Divya
108
Deshas,
Дивья-деш, святых
then
мест,
you can go back to
тогда
Godhead.
вы вернетесь обратно к Богу.
In Bengal,
В Бенгалии
the associates of Lord Chaitanya,
In Bengal, there are associates of Lord
места
Chaitanya.
явления спутников Господа Чайтаньи.
that is called Sripat.
And wherever they
И
appeared,
там,
that
где
is
они
called
являлись,
Sripat.
это место называется
I was
Шрипат.
thinking when
И
I
я подумал,
was transiting through Los Angeles, I was thinking when I was transiting
I was thinking that when I was transiting Los
подумал,
Angeles,
что когда я
Somehow.
ехал в Лос-Анджелес,
the 108 temples that Prabhupada established,
есть 108 храмов, которые лично открыл Шрила Прпбхупада.
I was thinking that while transiting Los Angeles, that the 108 temples that Srila Prabhupada established should have some special significance, some special
эти
denomination.
храмы должны получить особый статус.
We lost Manhattan Temple.
We lost the
Храм в
Manhattan
Манхэттене мы
temple.
потеряли.
Prabhupada, we heard them. He wanted to do his society on the roof.
We heard
Мы слышали,
that
что
Srila
Шрила
Prabhupada,
Прабхупада,
he wanted to do his samadhi on the roof of the Manhattan
он
temple.
хотел, чтобы его самадхи было на крыше
Да,
храма в Манхэттене.
Very but somehow we have lost it somehow.
So we felt very,
Конечно
very
же,
bad
это было очень
that
печально,
somehow we had
что
lost
каким-то
that
образом
temple.
мы потеряли этот храм.
Well, the deities were moved to Brooklyn.
Но
But
божества
the deities
переехали,
were moved
сейчас
to
они в
Brooklyn.
Бруклине.
And then we almost lost the deities too.
Но потом случилась такая
And when they almost
ситуация,
lost the deities
что
too,
мы чуть не потеряли и божеств.
Somehow, Bhakti Swami and
Но
others were able to save the deities.
but somehow
каким-то
Bhakti Charu
образом
Maharaj and
Бхактичару
others,
Махарадж и
they were able
другие,
to
они
save the
смогли
deities.
спасти божеств.
What? He said, see, all the temples established by Brahma recognized.
But we should see
Но
that
нужно
all the temples that
нужно
Srila Prabhupada
проследить,
established
что все эти храмы,
be
которые открыл
recognized.
Шрила Прабхупада, получили особое признание, особый статус.
Prabhupada was very worried that somehow we would sell off the properties, live off the sales.
Prabhupada is very worried that
Очень
we may sell
переживал,
off the
что мы можем продать
properties and live off the sales.
и оставить
Told
себе
me
деньги с
that
продажи.
I made how many temples, see that those are preserved.
He told me,
И
I
он
made
сказал мне лично,
108
я
temples.
установил,
Please
открыл
see that
108
they are
храмов.
preserved.
Ты должен следить за тем,
Или
чтобы
же
все
мы
они сохранились.
That's it.
If you can make more, that's
А
good.
если сможешь открыть больше, хорошо. Но, по крайней мере, сохрани
But
то,
at
что у
least
нас уже
preserve
есть.
what we have.
Because spiritual movements,
Есть очень много духовных движений,
qualities are so loud,
когда и такие были случаи, когда
disciples
последователи,
lose all their
они
pursuits.
продавали
There were
всю
many
собственность.
temples where the temples are sold off and disciples lived off those temples.
И
So Prabhupada
последователи покидали эти
didn't
храмы.
want that to happen.
Srila Prabhupada, he didn't want that to happen in ISKCON.
Прабхупада очень не хотел, чтобы что-то подобное произошло в ИСККОН.
So like this, he was interested in preserving the powers.
So like this,
Поэтому
he was interested in
он
preserving
очень
the
хотел
properties.
сохранить всю собственность общества.
I like to hear his holiness, Chandramali.
I would like to hear from His
Мне
Holiness
бы
Chandramauli
очень
Maharaj.
хотелось послушать Чандрамаули
I want you to
Махараджа.
continue on this point of Prabhupada. Your realizations about this is the effects, or as Marge mentioned, about the significance of these 108 temples being preserved, and
Well, there's Jayapataka Maharaj.
you were there in New Vrindavan. There's a little bit of controversy at one time, but that got saved.
New Vrindavan has that
New Vrindavan.
subtitle, Controversy.
У него
Krishna.
второе имя — это противоречие.
But somehow or other we're
Но
trying
так
to
или
take out
иначе
the traversy and keep it
мы постарались
continuous.
сохранить и
What
продолжить то,
Jayapataka
что
Maharaj
есть.
said is so fundamentally important for all of us to
Это
understand.
основа, которая вообще
Even if
важна
it
для
apparently seems to be practical from a financial point of view,
даже с финансовой точки
to
зрения.
maybe sell a temple. Prabhupada said no.
Не надо продавать храмы ни в каком случае. Всё тут.
And he was very continuous in his
Шрила Прпбхупаде был очень
preaching in that direction that
своей проповеди,
these temples are tirthas, they're holy
Он говорил,
places.
что эти храмы — это тирти,
If
это
there is some
святые места.
difficulty,
Если
then
возникнут
everyone
какие-то
should get
сложности,
together and try
всем
to bring
нужно
about a
объединиться
change
и
instead of
что-то
selling it. I think,
изменить,
of
но ни в
course,
коем случае не
as
продавать.
Maharaj mentioned the recent
И как Махарадж
struggle we had in New York with the Brooklyn temple.
упомянул, что да, у нас были сложности в
And by the
Нью-Йорке, в
grace of
Бруклине.
Bhakti
По
Chu
милости
Maharaj, I mean, he
Бхакти-чару
really
Махараджа.
fought like a warrior on a battlefield, and
Он
he saved that
сражался
temple,
просто как
really.
воин на поле битвы, и
And
он
he was
сохранил
highly
этот храм.
criticized by many
И
persons
хотя
in this
его
society
критиковали очень многие
what he did, but he
за то,
understood
что он сделал,
Prabhupada's
но
mission.
он понял миссию Шрилы
I haven't had
Прабхупады.
any personal experience
У меня
with
личного опыта не
temples
было
that were going to be closed or
Храмами, которые
going
там
to be sold
закрывались
for any
или были
reason, only the ones that
выставлены на
already
продажу,
been mentioned.
кроме тех, о которых мы уже сейчас поговорили.
But the point is that
Но суть в том, что
Srila Prabhupada said, you know,
Шрила
whatever I
Прабхупада
establish,
сказал, что то, что
don't make
я
it go down. If you can do something more,
установил,
Maharaj mentions that.
не снижайте
Then that
это
would be
количество.
wonderful.
Если сможете сделать больше, будет прекрасно. Но главное сохранить
And
то, что есть.
Srila Bhakti Tirtha Swami really helped us understand the importance of these places,
Понять важность этих мест.
wherein when he was leaving the body, this was in
Когда он
2005,
покидал
and he
тело в
was
2005 году,
undergoing tremendous
И он
struggle with
пережил,
his
и
cancer.
он очень боролся,
There was
борьбу
many
переживал
suggestions that,
с раком.
and also not only suggestions, but
И он
really strong
давал
statements that he
очень
should leave that
много
area and finish the rest of his life in the holy places,
Ему
either
многие
in Mayapur,
советовали, что уехать
Dham
из
or
этого
Vrindavan
места
Dham.
и оставить тело уже в Майпуре или в
And he
Вриндаванхаме.
considered that, because I was
подумал.
pretty much involved with him at the last point of his life. But one of the things he kept
Но
saying over and
он
over
всё время
again is that
повторял,
these places
эти места,
that Srila Prabhupada
которые
established
основал Шрила
are
Прпбхупада,
tirthas, they're holy
это
places.
святые места.
Because of Srila Prabhupada's presence there,
И
because
из-за
of his
присутствия Шрилы
preaching there,
Прпбхупады, благодаря его
and therefore, in
проповеди,
one sense, he made it that they're as just as good as the determined holy places that we
они
see
не
as
настолько же хороши, как и
foundational.
святые места.
So he wanted to leave his body in
Он
Gita Nagari, which he did, just to show that
Ставить
this
тело
place,
в этом
Gita
том
Nagari,
месте, в котором он
is a
проповедовал, и
tirth,
это
it's a
он и
holy
сделал,
place, it's a
и
place that
показал
Srila
этим,
Prabhupada
что
established.
этот храм, он
Not
тоже
only
тирха.
in that, and he also spent much time there.
Не только потому, что он много времени там
Any
провел.
place that Srila Prabhupada went to
Любое место, куда
is
ездил
none
Шрила
different
Прпбхупада,
than any other holy place, because
отлично ни от
the
какого
pure
другого
devotee
святого
establishes
места,
the holy
потому
place,
что
and by his presence,
чистый
by his purity,
преданный делает место
by his
святым своим присутствием,
words,
своей
he
чистотой.
makes the holy place what it is.
Он
And
делает
therefore,
святое
these
место
temples are
святым.
not just buildings
Эти
made out of
места,
different
это не
materials,
просто
but they're actually
какие-то
tirthas.
здания, это на самом деле тирхи.
Therefore, if there are apparently any problems, in order to maintain it or to keep it going, that should be the solution, rather than trying to start again by getting some money and building another temple somewhere. And Prabhupada was very strong about this. There was many incidents where certain temples were sold. Prabhupada mentions one particular devotee. I won't mention his